by. He's the creator and the host of Tournament of Topics, both at the Globe Theater in Athens and at the Alley Stage in Marietta. He's the City Roast Battle champion. He's the co-creator and the host of Classic City Creeps. He's the creator of 7 Questions, a soon-to-be hit internet show featuring the great comic Seven Holmes. He's about to be 10 months sober, and he's working on a new music project featuring the banjo, sad lyrics, and fruit. I want you guys to be at your absolute loudest, and let's welcome to the stage the phenomenal and hilarious Levi Crumley!
Yay! We did it! Oh my God. Always make them put me later. That way, when all the other comics are performing, I can steal their catalytic converters in the parking lot. Comedy's doing well for me. That's why I bought this suit. I don't know if you like this suit. This is a suit that's dangerous to wear because it makes it look like I have money, but also I have no idea how to defend myself. So, probably going to get jumped later. Some of y'all are probably looking at me like you might want my phone number. And you can have it if you sell enough Avon, you know? No. Alan did say I am sober from alcohol for 10 months now. I appreciate that. I appreciate it. I don't know if you guys, when I realized I had a problem was one night, I couldn't tell if it was the sun or the moon I was looking at, but then I realized I could just ask one of the other parents at the Little League game. My favorite way to drink vodka, you know those like motivational water bottles that they have? That's the best thing to drink vodka out of because it's like 9 a.m., rise and hydrate. 10 a.m., keep chugging. You know? 11 a.m., almost there. It's like almost to what, dude? Like, I don't know. I got too drunk one time and I tried to go to a Waffle House in Decatur, Georgia, only to find out that it wasn't a Waffle House at all. It was a Waffle House museum. Yeah, and it just looks like a Waffle House. So I just went in there expecting like an all-star special. And then I get in there, they're like, no, we don't have food here. This is like where you learn about the Waffle House. It's like, okay. I was like the first person that's ever been disappointed to not be inside a Waffle House, I think. And I was standing there and I was like, it clicked on me. The only people that bring themselves to a Waffle House museum were raised in an Awful House museum. It's not good. In 4th of July of 2023, I was living in Athens, and I needed something to do, so I was like, I'm going to go downtown and get drunk. And I went downtown and got drunk, but I also ate like a whole skillet of macaroni and cheese at South Bar, and I drank a bunch of vodka, and then I walked to a liquor store because I was going to get some more vodka, as one does. And I go in there, and I get my vodka, and I'm walking out with 2 paper bags filled with vodka, and a guy goes, "Hey, motherfucker." And I looked around and I was the only motherfucker out there. So I knew he was talking to me. And I turn around and there's a guy holding a knife and he goes, "Give me the bags." And I look at this guy and I just go, "No." And it's not that I'm brave, it's the fact that the guy had a really shitty knife on him. Like, he should have been ashamed of this knife. It was like a knife, like if your grandmother had a steak knife. It's like, grandma doesn't eat steak. It's like it's got a wooden handle. It's weird. But somebody must have called the cops because, like, pretty soon the guy just left. Like, we just kind of looked at each other and he figured I wasn't worth it. Because the only thing worse than somebody that's willing to kill for alcohol is somebody that's willing to die for it. And that was me that night. No, then somebody called the cops, and I'm hanging out, and this 12-year-old police officer approaches me, and he's like, "Tell me about what happened." I tell him, and he's like, "All right, man, well, you know, you're not driving, right? Because I'm pretty wasted." And he's like, "No." I'm like, "No, dude, I'm not driving. Of course not." And he's like, "Okay, cool." So he leaves, and then I go and get in my car. And then he pulls up to my car, and he goes, "Hey, I thought you said you weren't driving." It's like, "Oh, I'm not. I'm just hanging out in my car because there's like homeless dudes with knives and shit out here." And he's like, "That makes sense." So he leaves, and then I back up, and I start leaving. Not a good story. I'm driving home, and it's 4th of July, and I've got a belly full of vodka. I've already survived death and arresting at this point. I've got a belly full of vodka and macaroni and cheese like a 12-year-old. And I'm driving. I've always hated, 4th of July. It's just never meant anything to me. I think 4th of July is kind of a bullshit holiday, like Father's Day or Toyotathon, one of those two. But I'm driving home and I'm going up Atlanta Highway and I'm seeing these fireworks go off in the distance and I'm fucked up and I'm listening to music. I got Rich Girl playing by Hall & Oates. I'm having the best damn time. But then the song changes to that Queen song, Don't Stop Me Now. And I'm pulling up, I go to a red light right by my house, and as I'm sitting there going, don't stop me, a police car pulls up next to my car at the red light. And I look over, and it's the same goddamn cop. 12 years old still, and they let him drive. That was weird. But I look over at him, and he must have had a really hard day, because he just looks at me and just goes, and drives the fuck away. So I went home and, I just figured I earned the vodka at that point. It's good times. I quit drinking after that, and now I have to find other ways to, tell people why I'm bad at sex. Because, I have this problem. I don't know if you can tell what I'm into. If you guess strap-ons, you got me pegged. That's a dumb one. Now that I've never tried like that, I think I would be open to getting pegged by a woman, with the right girl or a really quiet man. Either way, This is called comedy that my grandfather would hit me with a shovel for. But I'm glad y'all like it. And now, my favorite position, I'll tell you, it's doggy style. Not just because I'm born and raised in Athens, That's not the only reason. The main reasons, this is tough because a girl told me one time, don't you want to look me in the eyes when we make love? Don't you want to make eye contact with me? And I do, I'm a romantic guy. The problem is when I look into a woman's eyes too long while I'm making love to her, I start to see my own reflection as I'm trying to give her pleasure. And fellas, if you've never come face to face with your own fuck grimace, you'll go soft in an instant. I promise you will. No, the main reason why I like doggy styles, that might only last a minute or two, but those are in dog years, so pretty good. I actually invented my own sexual position recently. It's called tortoise style. It's where neither of us really want to do it, but we go ahead because the scientists make us. It's pretty fun. I like to wear condoms. I think that's the smart thing. It took me a while to figure out that ultra-thin condoms weren't just for people with ultra-thin wieners. Because, my dick's not really long, but it's really skinny, and I have to wear them because, a girl told me one time that I just look like I have STDs. I don't even know what the fuck that... And it's looks can be deceiving because I do have imitation crabs, but, I used to have a lot of weird jobs. I've worked a lot of weird jobs. One time, I had a job at a grocery store when I was in high school. It was my first job, and this guy's trained me. He's also in high school. He goes, a lot of customer service jobs, they'll tell you the customer's always right. Here at Ingles, it's the opposite. And I was 15 years old, and I heard that. I was okay. And then a customer came up to me. She's I'd like to know where the salad dressing was. I was bull fucking shit you do, lady. They told me about you. The bathrooms were gross in there. They used to put the bathrooms were all the way in the back at Ingles. They still are. And I remember cleaning the bathrooms. I was why do they put the bathrooms so far in the back? And the guy trained me. He's well, it's to keep the riffraff out. I'm dude, I make $7.25 an hour. I think I am the riffraff. I had a job working in road construction when I was 21. And that was weird because I met this guy my first day working there named Richard. He was in his mid-50s, and he wouldn't talk to me the whole day. He had sunglasses on. He would just kind of stonewall me. But finally, at lunchtime, he just came up to me, and he told me, hey, I should tell you about this girl I was with the other night. And I was okay. 21 years old, one of my first jobs. And he's so I'm fingering her, right? And I was okay. I've never had this conversation with somebody in their 50s at this point. But he goes, while I'm doing it, she goes, put your whole hand inside of me, Richard. And he goes, so I do it, right? And I'm sure, I guess. And then she goes, now put your other hand inside of me. And then Richard says, now she goes, now clap. And Richard goes, well, I can't. And she goes, I know, that thing's tied, ain't it? And see, this wasn't like a big deal because he would just tell a bunch of savages on the construction site this. The problem was that one day some dumbass hit a gas line on the job and they closed the road down, and the DOT sent some young, fresh out of college Christian boy to come talk to us to figure out what the fuck happened. And he's interviewing us, and he's talking to me, and he's like asking me about myself. He's being very sweet, asking me about my life, my family. And I'm telling my boss right after that how nice this guy is. And my boss goes, oh, that's cool. He's over there talking to Richard right now. And I look over, and he is talking to Richard, and Richard's already got one hand in. And I see Richard put the other hand in, and I see that young boy stumble off, throw up, get in his car, and drive away. And we found out after that Richard got fired, and I got in trouble for hitting a gas line. So it was a bad day. I had a job selling solar panels for a little bit. That was a fun job till it got dark. It's like I'm sitting in somebody's kitchen, like, yeah, the sun's gonna power your house, man. And they're like, well, where is it? It's like, it'll come back. You'll get it. My favorite thing about solar panels was I got to do it door to door sometimes, so I just meet random people. I met a guy one time, I walk into his house, the first thing in his house is a lizard cage. And I look over and I'm like, expecting him to say something. He's like, no, that ain't shit, man. I got all kinds of shit in the back. Like, I don't know if I want to see the shit in the back. The first thing in the place is a lizard cage. But sure enough, I go back there. I'm furious and curious. And I go back there when he's got all these animal cages, and he goes, hey, this thing's pretty cool. It's a green anaconda. He takes this snake out, and he's like, I've had it for about 3 years. After he said that, it bit him on the hand. And then he goes, finally we get it off of him with my help. And then he goes, do you want to hold it now? And I didn't know what to say. Like, they didn't train us in solar panel class, like what to do if a guy asks you if you want to hold his anaconda. But I was like, dude, you've known him for 3 years. He's biting the hand that feeds him. He's going to swallow me whole. I'm not going to get you any commission for these solar panels. This is bullshit. But then I found out after that, like, Facebook Marketplace and Craigslist are like the same thing now. You can find anything on Facebook Marketplace. You can find a roommate. You can find tamales. You can find a snake on there. I found the same snake like 3 days later. His name's Rocky, lives with me now, and loves solar panels, hates company, you know. And I like him though. I take my anaconda through the drive-thru. I buckle him up a little seatbelt, which is kind of tough because he's shaped like one, but we make it work, you know. And I take him through the drive-thru. A lot of people take their dog through the drive-thru. They'll get like a hamburger. They'll just get the meat and not the bun. Like, I do the opposite. My anaconda doesn't want none if they ain't got buns. You know what I mean? This whole set was just me building it. I think I'm gonna leave now. I don't know what to do. I like animals. Like, I think people say that animals aren't racist, that humans are racist. I think we're just lucky animals can't talk. Because there's a tortoise that's 192 years old. Like, you don't think he's got some outdated opinions? He was born 25 years before the Civil War started. There's probably shit his grandkids don't bring up at Thanksgiving, you know? They put a lot of pressure on this one male tortoise to now he's got to fuck the species back to life. It's like, how are you going to break that news to him? He's like, dude, I'm a 192 years old tortoise, dude. I haven't thought about pussy since the steam engine was built. So I feel bad for her. I feel bad for the female tortoise, too, because she's got to get impregnated by a fossil, and that doesn't seem like fun. Because he's not going to be around to raise those kids. He's got 3 foot in the grave, 1 foot on a banana peel. Because I think tortoises eat bananas sometimes, you know? Thank you. I'm going to tell this joke that does anybody here like Dr. Seuss? Yeah. Okay, y'all aren't going to like this joke at all. Because here's the thing about Dr. Seuss. I'm not going to say Dr. Seuss was racist. I don't know that. I'm going to say he was a shitty husband. Horrible husband. If you don't know this, look it up. All factual. Dr. Seuss's wife was dying of cancer. That's not what made him a shitty husband. I don't think he gave it to her. But she was dying, and I guess that made him like really horny because he was just cheating it up the whole time. Dr. Seuss, your guys' hero. And the sad part, I mean, it's weird. The guy that wrote Cat in the Hat was like capping to get as much pussy as he could. But you know, I don't think you can hold him to the wedding vows, though. Like, you're going to hold him to in sickness and health. I mean, he could not keep his vows. He wouldn't keep them even now. I mean, it's Dr. Seuss, is what I'm saying. The saddest part is that when the wife found out, she did kill herself. Very sad. And I know Dr. Seuss probably went through a really hard time, and he was heartbroken because a few months later, he went ahead and married the mistress. You're a hero. Yeah. And it's like, I read the suicide note. That's the saddest part, is you can read the suicide note online, and not to be a critic, but to be Dr. Seuss's wife. Like, I was expecting something a little bit more jovial, something that rhymed. It was kind of a downer, honestly. Like, I don't know what I expected, like 1 pill, 2 pills, red pills, blue pills. Is this Dr. Seuss, Dr. Drew, or Dr. Phil? I don't know, all right? Oh, God. No, we made it. We did it. Thank you. I'll play this game with you, get to know you a little bit better. 2 truths and a lie. You guys know this game, 2 truths and a lie? 2 truths and a lie. 9/11, Holocaust, the Bible. What do y'all got? I saw a guy when I was in Atlanta the other day. He was wearing a t-shirt that said, "God got me" on it. But he wasn't doing well. Like, he was laying on the street and he just looked disheveled. And I saw the t-shirt that said, "God got me." I was like, I'm sorry, man. He's been getting a lot of people lately. I don't know if you've been watching the news. I remember when 9/11 happened very clearly because I was 6 years old. And I got suspended from school the day that it happened. Wasn't related, you know. That would be weird if there was a random 6-year-old like, yeah, we also caught him and he got suspended. No, that was not what happened. What happened was I got suspended because I was in the cafeteria and I was eating an apple and I put a fork in the apple and I pretended like I was going to fling it, you know, like across the room. Except I'd never actually do it, except for I'm a dumbass and actually did it. And I flung it across the room and it went all the way across and it hit the only Asian child at our school. And this was a problem, because I grew up in Isla, Georgia, like 400 people. The first Asian family had lived in our county. This boy's first year at school, and somebody threw an apple at his ass. It wasn't a good look. Accidental hate crime. And I got suspended, and I felt bad. Like, I got home, my parents were pissed off, like they seemed really sad and upset, and I was like, oh shit, I'm about to get it. Because nobody told us anything about 9/11 at that point. I guess they thought we were too young. So when she sat me down, my mom and dad, they tell me what happened on 9/11. I was like, oh, thank God. I thought I was going to get grounded. Turns out just 3,000 strangers died. This is a pretty good day for me. Great. Let me think. Something fun that we can do. So I started doing comedy really early on, and I got to see a lot of really fun stuff. I'm going to tell you all this story about when we hosted an open mic one time, and a man with one arm showed up. And I had to hand it to him, I really did. The only reason why I'm making fun of the guy, like, I don't think that's right, but he was an asshole. Like, he sexually harassed an employee at the place. And I wasn't glad that he did it, but I was glad that if anybody in the place did it, that he was the one that did it. Because, like, he was armed, he was dangerous, but he wasn't, like, armed and dangerous, you know what I mean? Like, it's a lot easier to get that guy to leave, is all I'm saying. I like that song, I Saw Mommy Kissing Santa Claus. You know that song? I think they could make a more unbelievable version of that song and just call it, I Saw Mommy Kissing My Biological Father. What the fuck? I believe that, Crummy. Y'all make a bunch of noise right out.